Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of 343. My name is AF. I'm your host, and it's been a long time. I think it's been about 2 months. Nice off season. Get some rest and recharging, relaxing. Yeah, glad to have you guys back. Jason and Riyaz, our usuals. And Damon, welcome back for the second time as well.
Oh yeah, getting some Americana in there. Messi comes to the States and we're taking over the world, baby.
Yeah, man. How you guys been? You guys have a good off season? Put it like that.
Yeah, man, it's been good. I think Arsenal's peaking already. But yeah, it's been good. It's
You know,
been good to not have to worry about them. It's been good to watch some Women's World Cup and yeah, just to chill really. I think last season was one of the longest having that mid-season World Cup. So yeah, just to actually not have to focus on too much football was good. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it's ready to start again. Like I actually can't wrap my head around it.
yeah, no, I'm excited. What about you, Diaz?
Yeah, not too bad. On when was it Sunday? I randomly was told that the Community Shield was on, and I was like, "That can't be right. That means that the Premier League starts on Friday." And I looked at my phone, and I was like, "Oh, Premier League starts on Friday. That's interesting." So after having a problem with like waiting for months, and all of a sudden creeps up on us, and now we're ready to go again. So I guess I'm excited for the new season.
Excited for the new season, and then also excited about reading every single day that a bid has been rejected for Harry Kane.
I'm not really excited about that. I'll be honest. I kind of really, I don't know. I prefer, well, not prefer, but I really want him to go for his sake and for ours, I guess. So I really hope that Bayern get to pay that kind of money for the right amount, the right price, and Levy accepts it eventually, because I don't know. I feel like it'll be good for the club and for him to actually leave and go win things, because we're not going to win anything for the next couple of seasons still. And I'd rather him go overseas than going to a Premier League club, which is going to hurt me so much more for free. So yeah, I hope that comes through, because going for free to a Premier League club is going to break my heart completely next season, to be honest.
Yeah, and like just speaking about Bayern, Damon, you are the Bundesliga pro among us at the moment. Yeah, if you want to give your perspective on that whole deal, and how do you think that would affect the Bundesliga as a whole?
Well, it wouldn't hurt it. Any talented player like Harry Kane coming in would bring more eyes. It would raise the bar. Bayern desperately need a striker of that caliber once again. I think for Tottenham's sake, they need to say yes as soon as possible, because if they wait too long, yeah, he's going for free. And then that's just one of the worst business deals I've ever seen in my life. So this is not getting an extra 20 million for him and saying no to that is just kind of like, what are you doing? You're letting him go to a team at this point. You're getting a ton of money for him. Like, understandably, it maybe not be as much as you want, but you're getting still a ton of money for him against a team you're never going to play this season. Like, what are you doing? Just say yes.
Yeah, the last bid I saw, I think it was 94.7 million. I mean, come on, like, take it.
Just
Like, Mr. Levy, you are not going to, like, over 90 million for Harry Kane. Like, in a year's time, you're going to get nothing. Just take it and walk
To play
away.
devil's advocate, though, he means so much to the club. He's the top goal scorer. He wants to win stuff with Tottenham, but I do agree with everything that you're saying. That was just to be devil's advocate, but yeah, they want that kind of money because it means so much to the club. But if it really does mean so much to the club, just take the money. It's a lot of money. It's 94 million. Just take it and go, to be honest.
It gives them enough time to use that money and try to reinvest it into
Our
somebody that
centre
they can
backs,
actually.
into back line. Never mind the forwards. You can
Well, I
reinvest
mean,
into the back line.
if Harry Kane leaves, you're going to need to fill that void somehow. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to find somebody that's going to be equally as brilliant, because you
Yeah.
won't. But I mean that money will have to be reinvested into somebody that's still going to get you some goals every season. But yeah, I
there's
do agree.
Richarlison there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, but also, I think didn't you guys confirm that Argentinian kid now, like literally like an hour ago or
Release.
something? It is, yeah.
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 But
He's a youngster though,
as-
very young.
yeah, as you were saying, Spurs are going to reinvest. I'm thinking back to the time that Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid and how that lovely investment panned out for them. So yeah, maybe giving a guy like Levy all that money isn't the best thing, because I don't know what he's going to use it for. He's probably going to turn the Spurs stadium into like a MLB stadium as well. It has that component as well. Next, you're going to have MLB there. You're going to have ice hockey. You're going to have everything going there. So maybe you should just suck him dry, right? One last season, give it one last go under this new manager as well, and then see. Because I mean, how many managers has Kane had in the last 4 seasons? Maybe this is the one that finally gets him something.
It would
I feel
also
like
be
we say that every
hilarious.
time.
It would also be
Yeah.
hilarious that the one time, let's say Harry Kane really is dialed up for a trophy at Bayern Munich. It's like the one year they don't win a trophy. It would be funny.
Yeah.
It would be funny. It's not going to happen.
And I think
but
Dortmund
it would
season.
be.
Nah, I mean after Dortmund season last season, maybe they come back and they just finish the job, and then maybe Bayern don't get anything, and they have Harry Kane, and then it's actually Harry Kane that's the reason Spurs haven't won anything. He's that negative juju.
That the proper bottler, like you can't take the Spurs. What? Yeah, you can take the player out of Spurs, but you can't take Spurs out of the
Spurs,
player.
you can't take Spurs out.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go back to the news that's actually been filling up my entire feed every morning I wake up. The guy that just transferred to the MLS not too long ago, Damon's idol. Damon, the person that Damon worships. He worships the ground that he walks on. Leo Messi.
Your
Damon.
idol's idol, Aiden. Ronaldo's idol as well. Don't worry.
Whoa. I was telling Damon to start speaking. I didn't mean for you to.
Yeah.
interject
No,
or
I'm
anything.
just throwing a tad bit of spice on the meat there. Okay, that's all it is.
I mean, look, I like Lionel Messi. I'm not a Lionel Messi stan in any way, shape, or form. I look at it just as a fan of this league, as an American who's grown up with Major League Soccer, that's been around essentially my entire life. New England Revolution, my club, and just seeing them go through it all, and just seeing this league transform, right? So I look at Messi's arrival, and I look at it in terms of, yes, it's great. You could say the GOAT has come to this league at the end of his career, but what does it mean for the league, right? When David Beckham came, that was the first big shot in the arm that this league had, and it created a rule, the financial rule of designated players, which allowed more and more talented players, higher quality players to come into this league. That then led into like someone like Sebastian Giovinco coming into this league, and good players who came into their prime. So now I look at Lionel Messi and I'm like, yep, putting on highlight reel moments day in, day out. I think he has like 7 goals in 3 games, something insane like that. So it's like, okay, what is he going to do towards the league? Because more people now are watching Inter Miami, but are more people watching MLS or just Inter Miami, right? So that's what kind of like the league as a whole has to look at this situation as, because yeah, they're going to pump up the fact that Lionel Messi's next game is whatever, but then it's okay, well, New England Revolution just played Querétaro, who's kind of a very lower tier team in Liga MX in the League's Cup, and lost. Who's been very, very good this year. So it's interesting. I am very excited about Lionel Messi. Yes, more people are going to watch this league. It's great. I get to have Lionel Messi on my TV every weekend and not have to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch him. It's great. What does it mean for the quality of the league? I mean, he has 7 goals in 3 games. Yes, we're still in Leagues Cup play. We're not in MLS play yet. Inter Miami are a bad team. They are not good. Their defending is horrendous. If anyone saw the highlights from the last game, you would know. They're bad. This is not a good team. So I joked when they signed Messi. I was like, Lionel Messi is not saving this team. They're in dead last in the Eastern Conference. They're like 12 points out. Well, maybe they'll make the playoffs. But it's cool. It's cool. Lionel Messi's in MLS. This is something that like David Beckham teased for years, and it finally happened. It's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you have the transfers of Busquets, Jordi Alba, they coming in, forming that Barcelona circa 2015 team. Rumors of Luis Suarez on the way as well.
Sure.
Rumors of Sergio Ramos on the way as well.
Sure. I don't know how you're going to be able to do that. The way that the league finances and roster rules work, it's extraordinarily limiting. You're essentially allowed 3 players that don't affect the salary cap, which this league has. They're already at that point with 3 designated players. So it's like, I don't know how you're going to sign anyone else onto this team of quality that isn't using other rules that I won't get into. We can save that for another time about the rules of this league if anyone's genuinely interested, because it's crazy. It's cool. It's just, I don't know how good this team is actually going to be once when Major League Soccer resumes, because we're in Leagues Cup right now. I don't even know how many teams are taking this tournament seriously.
Yeah, but like, sorry, Jason, just on that point, when Beckham joined way back when, what was it, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
2000s.
I'm pretty sure that the MLS, they bent some rules back then already to
they
try
created
and accommodate that.
They literally made a rule. They literally made the designated player rule so LA Galaxy could sign David Beckham. The Major League Soccer has a salary cap, much like every other American sports league that has here. You have a salary cap. It's a pool of money that you're allowed to spend within a certain budget. A designated player means this player does not attribute to the salary cap. You can pay them whatever you want, and it doesn't mean anything towards the salary cap. Since Beckham arrived, you're now allowed up to 3. And then there's some other financial like rules that you can use to pay down people's salaries, so it fits within the budget. Essentially, it's very confusing. But I look at this where it's like, what is Messi's arrival going to do to this? Like, what is the big thing he's going to bring to this league? I mean, yes, his name is enough, but what is he going to bring that will allow the league to take that next step? We're already seeing in Saudi Arabia, like, they're just spending money like crazy. MLS is never going to compete with that. Financially, they cannot. So what are they going to do that can compete? I mean, first rule of thumb for me is Major League Soccer has a problem with their fields. A lot of their fields that are brand new are gorgeous, state-of-the-art, beautiful. About a third of them still use turf. Messi's not going to play on those fields. So that means any high-quality player that comes in this league is not going to be playing in those stadiums, which means they won't be playing in about a third of the games that they're supposed to. That's a problem.
Okay. Jason?
No, just, it's wild, man. I'm thinking, like, in this future, obviously, USA hosting the World Cup in a few years' time, is it not? That's obviously geared to bring more fanfare into the MLS, to almost highlight USA-based players and those things. But that issue of the field, I actually completely forgot about that because of the weather situations that gets really, really bad in certain states and stuff. Missing out the third of the games, I even saw one of the clips that as soon as Messi was subbed, everybody started leaving the stadium. So it's like, okay, what is actually going to happen, right?
There was a little bit of an asterisk on that because it was like 4-1 at that point in the 80th minute. Like, a little bit of an asterisk.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, we'd watch it right until the end, right? Because then maybe we'd see players walking around the field and, you get to interact a bit with them or at least get closer locally, But yeah, I think it's interesting because like before, Beckham came and there was no rule and then suddenly there's 3. I think that they're going to push and then suddenly there's going to be 4 or 5 maybe, I think. I think they'd be able to squeeze maybe like 1 more into that designated cap. What do you think about that? Potentially just to add more into more teams and make the overall league competitive.
I think that is bare minimum is adding to the designated player list. I think 5 is a good number. It's it's a whole number. 4 is awkward. So it's like, just make it 5. Again, there's other rules, like there's targeted allocation money that, like, essentially, weird little fact, but Gareth Bale was not a designated player. He was paid $1 million a year, but they used another pool. There's kind of 3 pools of money. They used the third pool of money, which is called targeted allocation money, which is used to pay down somebody's salary. So then it fits within the salary cap. So there's other little rules. That was kind of like what Giovinco brought with him. It was to make it so you can have more quality players come in and still pay them well. But I do think, a 5 designated player rule is good. It is starting to create a boundary, though, where the league prides itself on parity. Any year, any team can be good because no one can really spend like $1 billion to create a super team, which is what we're starting to see. Some teams stretch and get really good 3 players, but even the smaller teams like in Colorado or Kansas City is still able to be competitive because of these roster restrictions. So if you expand it, you're then creating more of a barrier, more of a gap. Maybe Columbus out in Ohio isn't going to be as much of an ideal landing location for anyone like Kansas City, or like, there's rumors now. It's like, oh, let's see if we can go get Mbappe. It's like, all right, sure. Where do you think Mbappe is going to go? New York, LA, or Minnesota? Right? Like, you get this problem everywhere else in the world. Like, you'd be like, oh, are you going to go to Manchester? Are you going to go to London? Or are you going to go to Birmingham? Right? Like, there's ideal places to land, no matter where you are, even if one team is significantly better than the other. So, yeah, like you said, 5, I think, is a good number for designated players. It's just about expanding the rosters is bare minimum.
But I think the potential for this Inter Miami team is so high right now that the MLS would be smart to actually push that number a bit higher. Like more quality players, more world-class players, more eyes on the games, more eyes on the league.
Yeah, but that then causes the problem which you spoke about, which is the gulf in the competitiveness of the league itself, which is what they pride themselves on, which is what is going to be difficult to try and keep in order, because that's like really, really nice. Like I really enjoy a league that's competitive right through. So if you increase the number to 5, and some teams can't afford, or like you said, like Damon said, the people don't really want to go to certain places. It really kind of messes up the competitiveness of the league. And actually, I didn't know that about the fields, which is really important. So some teams will rather want to spend their money on, or have to, never mind want to, have to spend their money on the fields and upgrading the fields and facilities first, rather than spending on players, which is going to then take a bigger knock, and it's going to mess up the competitiveness as well. So it's really interesting to see where it's going to go.
I have an idea to make the league more competitive.
I think I have the same
relegation,
idea.
Guys.
Yeah,
promotion relegation.
I'm thinking the exact same thing.
Add some consequences to their actions. MLS, are you listening to us?
Like Inter Miami, that Stone lost in their side. Yeah, you have Messi playing USL, playing against university teams.
Damon would love that. Imagine,
I love that.
Damon's Hartford team going up against Messi.
I already was able to watch. This was a treat for me this year. Unfortunately, lost. But in the U.S. Open Cup is the only tournament in this country where you're able to see a 2nd division team or a 3rd division or 4th division team play an MLS team, because there is no promotion relegation. So I was able to see my local Hartford team go to Gillette Stadium in front of like 15 people, because no one at that stadium gave a crap about that game. Although if it was at our home, we would sell out our 5,000-6,000 tickets, whatever it would have been, which is ridiculous. But it was really cool. I got to see like my 2nd division team go up against the Revs, and we only lost 2-1. So it was like, all right, we actually could have won that game. Regardless, I would kill for promotion relegation in this country. It'll never happen in my lifetime, at least on the MLS level, because Major League Soccer teams are not clubs. They're franchises. These owners pay hundreds of millions of dollars just to enter the league, right? Like, you're then asking these owners to say, hey, like that $250 million that you just paid just to play in this league? Yeah, that essentially is moot now. If you're not good enough, you get relegated down to the USL or whatever they create, right? A lot of people want it. I think a lot of the European fans in this country want it because the soccer fandom in the US is very split. It's kind of funny where it's like you have hardcore MLS fans, hardcore European football fans, and there's like a line down the middle. So the sport in this country is huge. It's just split off into all these different factions. I want to see it happen. It would create the competitive level. It would definitely boost grassroots level football, which is like, I go to like my Hartford games, which we didn't have a team 6 years ago. Now we do. We get like 5,000 people a game. That's 5,000 more people that weren't watching the sport that are now attending a game, a second division game where we can't even get promoted to the top division. That's crazy to me. So it's like, if you introduce the sport to grass levels at all these smaller places that then have a chance to be bigger, it's a dream. That's how you grow the sport.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime, like you said. But yeah, but it would really like enhance that MLS experience, not just for Americans, just for world football.
Mhm.
It would make the league more appealing, I think. Some players like that competitiveness, and I think that would be something that would entice so many players to come over. One last thing for the MLS before we hop over to the Premier League. The playoffs for the MLS. Where do you see Inter Miami finishing the season?
I can't even say they haven't played an MLS game yet.
Mm.
It's tough, man. Yeah, that's
Then they have about
difficult.
10 games to go.
Roughly, yeah, they have about 10, 12 games ago, 12 points. Like it's possible. Like they can make up that gap. It's just a matter of when they actually play in the league, are they gonna be playing up against better quality opponents than who they've been playing, essentially? And the answer is yes. And Messi's not gonna be playing in all those games either because of the turf field condition. That's another factor a lot of people forget. I think they'll make the playoffs. They're like plus 2,300 or something insane to win MLS Cup. So if you just want to put $5 on it, put $5 on it because like those numbers right now are crazy. So I want to say they'll finish 8th. They'll just make a playoff spot. I think they'll make it to the quarterfinal before they eventually run out of steam because once when playoffs come, it's one and done. And I think the home field advantage will ruin them. And if they ever play a team on the road who is in a turf stadium, it's over.
Okay, we'll come back to. I'll clip that and we'll come back to it. If Inter Miami win the MLS, and I'll be like, Damon, I knew what you were doing, Damon.
I hate to say I'm sitting on a fence, but I'm giving every chance possible.
Cool. Yeah, so that wraps up that segment. Onto the Premier League, and we are a few days away from kickoff. A lot of the teams they started recruiting quite early. Liverpool lost some players. Manchester United, they lost some players. Chelsea lost the entire team, basically. What do you guys think about where this league is heading? How the transfer window has panned out? Riyaz, I'll start with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's kind of interesting. A lot of busyness and business in the transfer market. To be honest, more than I expected from all the teams. I didn't expect so many teams to be so busy. City. City, they just look ridiculous. They let Gundogan go, get Kovacic, same to same, buy how many ever million rated defender that they didn't need. One of the best defenders in the world at the moment, which is
how much was he? Like 85 million or something?
Around there. A ridiculous amount of money. I genuinely can't remember. And he's not going to start every game. So what's the point of that now? I don't understand. Because with Pep Roulette, he's going to start every second game, every third game, and because you can't not start Stones, you can't not start Ruben Diaz. So who's gonna when is he gonna start? But yeah,
like just on that, like when Pep got Akanji in from Dortmund, Damon, rubbing salt in the wound over there. Yeah, like Akanji, he wasn't playing much in the beginning, and last season he was one of their best players. So it's all about like phasing them in. Laporte came in, he was playing a lot. Last season was the season that Laporte was being phased out. So I think everybody has an expiry date with Pep.
so then who phases out
he's-
now then?
Sorry?
Who phases out now then in that back line?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think John Stones and Ruben Diaz, they will be the interchanging ones. Vardiol he'll probably play about 60% of the games next season. So I think the three of them will end up rotating with Akanji. So the four of them, they'd end up like switching places. Akanji can play fullback as well.
He plays all across all the back line. He plays on the right, on the left, and in the middle.
So yeah, like
But I think
like
it's the same.
I've learned.
Guardiola plays left back as well.
Yeah, so I've learned to not question Pep Guardiola anymore, because I mean the guy's brain works in mysterious ways. Sorry, yes, I interjected when you were still speaking.
No. Yeah, I did pose that question, but yeah. So City have been busy. Arsenal, Jason, like surprisingly, so much money being spent. Surprisingly, because I thought you guys had a great season last season. And can you talk me through the Havertz signing, please? Because I don't really understand that much.
Yeah, at first I also didn't understand it, but I think, and it's something that I actually watched when we watched that Community Shield, right? So I think losing Xhaka was massive, and they're saying Havertz is supposed to come in and be Xhaka. I don't think that was the case. I think he gives us a bit of a different element up front. I saw there were certain instances where the press was really high, and I think that's going to be a big factor this season. I think a team like I think I was just watching Spurs had some good pressing moments in some of their preseason friendlies. Chelsea looked like they could possibly be back. I think Havertz gives us an option as just an outlet, just that clip ball over the first press. If we aren't able to actually play out, I think he's an intelligent footballer. I think coming from Germany, when he played at Leverkusen, from what I remember, I always felt he was good playing like almost just off a central number 9. I think that's when he flourished. I think Chelsea maybe might have misprofiled him and maybe misused him in certain instances. Having him as a sole number 9, I don't think that was what was working for him there. And I think
but
just
that's where he played on
Sunday.
Sunday, wasn't it? Didn't he play there on Sunday?
No,
as well?
so I think, yeah, and I think, I mean, it's fair. I think there were times when he was there, but I think with that Arsenal front three, there's a lot of interchanging, and I think we saw that with like Martinelli coming inside, Havertz going wide, then Odegaard going past Havertz and Havertz dropping in. I think it goes down to Arteta's signings being like multifaceted, so they can go right across the front and they can play many positions, which gives you cover. It's an interesting one. I think he's built up quite of a weird reputation, obviously being at Chelsea and all the sitters that he missed, that very nonchalant attitude. But I've also, just like Pep, I think I've learned to trust Arteta. There's certain signings that I thought at the beginning, and okay, it's not all of them that have been correct. I think back to like a signing like Willian, maybe it wasn't the best fit, and he felt that because he was Prem proven, he'd be able to work, and it's not exactly the same. But I think there's a key understanding now. We're buying young Prem proven players that can slot in and offer us versatility. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see more of him, and I think Jesus is out now for another, I think it's probably like a month or two maybe. So we'll see a lot more of Kai Havertz, and then we'll see maybe. I have my faith in Mikel.
What about Declan Rice, Mr. 105 million, holding down that midfield?
Yeah. It's also another interesting one. English signing, English tax was big, and okay, I think with the Jude Bellingham signing, we almost knew that we'd have to spend that much. And then also with Caicedo, I think Declan Rice and Caicedo were probably the best midfielders outside the top six, and they're young. They had good seasons for their teams, so we expected it to be. I didn't expect it was going to be 105. I thought you could maybe steal it a bit cheaper, but I think with what he offers, I think I think I would pay 105 again. Actually, I was just watching, and that was at 75%, and he covers ground quickly. He's got these long strides to him, and I think with Pep and even with Arteta, players tend to get better, right? There's this element that they can tap into them, and I think he'll be a good signing. I think West Ham, he was the big fish in a very small pond. Now he comes and he's a medium-sized fish in, I think, a bit of a bigger pond. I'd like to believe Arsenal's a bit bigger than West Ham. I think it's going to be a good season for him. He's going to be under pressure because he comes with a 105 price tag, but I think he seems like he's a kid that can handle it, and I think it's a good setup and it's a good mold for him to come in. And I think Arsenal did well last season, but I think maybe where Liverpool might have fallen off in that season where they won, they failed to strengthen and they failed to solidify, and I think that's even what Pep did now. They'd won the league, and he said, okay, you know what, I'm going to sign the best defender that I can find. I'm going to sign Kovacic, that's going to elevate the game as well. So I think all of the good teams and all of the good managers, when they have good seasons, they know that that's where it ends. It's that season, and you now have to elevate your game again and keep going. Because I think, Premier League, it's changing every season, and we're going to have more teams that are going to compete. So, it's interesting. I'm very nervous. Don't ask me to make a prediction just yet, but hopefully it's
what
a
was
good one.
interesting though on Sunday. You go, Abe.
No. I was just going to say we're definitely going to do that before this episode ends. But
I'm having internet connection issues. I think I might need to log off quickly.
On that Manchester City point, Pep lost Riyad Mahrez in this off season. It seems like he might be on the verge of losing Bernardo Silva as well. I mean, this is his last season. I think if he plays it out, they get nothing for him. So there's been rumors, there's been talks about Bernardo Silva wanting to go to Barcelona. I don't know what lever they're going to have to pull in order to get that signing done. I don't know if there's any levers left to do it.
I think they've used all of the levers already.
But it will be interesting to see what happens on that right wing for Manchester City, because they haven't replaced Riyad Mahrez, and if Bernardo Silva is gone, then that entire side is wide open, and that's very unlike Pep Guardiola. Normally, if he loses somebody, then you get somebody in immediately.
They'll sit into it though. They will. He knows where the gap is. Or they also have a young Phil Foden. The Phil Foden Jr., Cole Palmer there on the right-hand side. So
for sure.
Oh, with that wonder goal over the weekend. Oh,
guys got a peach of a finish. I think they mass-produce left-footers there in that side of Manchester, because Foden, Cole Palmer, okay, that's all of two, so they actually don't mass-produce. Maybe they actually just produce two. But, I think agreeing 100% with Riyaz. I think Pep has this idea, and also what I've noticed, I think all of City's movement, except maybe now for the signing of Guardiola, it goes quick. You would literally hear about it, and then not even a day or two later, you have Ornstein, you have Fabrizio confirming it. So, I think it's going to be, and I think if Bernardo goes to Barca and they're somehow able to make it work, I think we see Rafinha coming back into the Prem, and he's going to slot in there at City, which is crazy. That's like literally, I think, almost replacing Mahrez with, I wouldn't say like for like ability, but I think sort of a similar style skill set. Maybe not as pre-proven as Mahrez, but I think Rafinha would slot in nicely. That's if Bernardo goes. I also heard rumors that they might extend his contract, so we'll see.
And just like going back to that 105 million that you guys got from West Ham, that Arsenal got from West Ham. I mean, West Ham wants Harry Maguire and Stuart McTominay from Manchester United. They want to offer a combined fee of 30 million for both of them.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Guys,
I think that's
guys,
super reasonable.
guys.
What do you want for them? They
Come on.
Harry Maguire is worth 5 million,
Guys.
and then the other guy is worth
Guys.
25.
Guys, they are loaded right now. If any team got that sum of money coming in, whoever is
Plus,
selling the player to them, they are going to suck them dry.
they're gonna,
Completely dry.
I think they
30
also got
million
like a
after receiving
25 mil for like
105.
Skamaka. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Skamaka left as well and went to Atalanta. So
Yeah.
they got 30 odd there.
No chance. If they didn't get that 105 mil, I would have been like, okay, 30 mil, okay, cool. Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, thank you for everything you've done.
How much do you want for them then?
Enjoy.
How much do you
At
want for
least
them?
50 million combined.
Okay, that's fair,
Yeah,
but not more than that.
At
That's
least
like-
50
that's
million
like the
combined.
most.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
I
the
think
most,
that's
not at
fair.
least.
But I mean, come on, West Ham. Like, check out your
Just because they
priorities,
got
guys.
the money now.
Exactly. That is what happens to Manchester United, just by the way. We like anytime Manchester United is interested in an English player, it's English tax plus Manchester United tax. Guys, I'm so tired out here.
But then look what happens to them. They like Maguire. They just gave it down with the trajectory. It's not United's fault. It's just the players maybe not good enough, and then they're worth now 5 million. So it's just how it happens.
Riyaz
Yeah,
calling it like he sees it. I love it.
I'm not even going to speak about Manchester United's transfers right now. Damon, the Liverpool fan, you can go ahead and speak about your team.
Dortmund Liverpool fan. Yeah, it makes sense.
If you stretch it that far, I have just like throwing all these things at me today. He's like, oh yeah, the Messi lover. I was like, yeah, sure, okay.
Wild takes.
Throwing things at me. He's
I
like,
don't-
yeah, you love
I
Klopp,
don't-
right? It's like, yeah, I love Klopp. He's like, you're a Liverpool fan, sure.
I don't think we've watched a Liverpool game and Damon hasn't supported them. So
That's also
I'm
fair.
just making my conclusions here.
That's also fair. I mean, what can I say? I'll back Klopp wherever he goes, exception Bayern Munich when that eventually happens, and I'll throw myself off a very sad rock. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool's interesting this year. I'm just not impressed with them right now. Like they're just kind of like striving along. You lose Firmino, Salah stays, Mane's going to Saudi Arabia too. That happened a while ago, but it's like now I'm just kind of looking at him like, what's your identity here? Like this is not the Liverpool that won the Champions League. This is not the Liverpool that won the Premier League. This is Diaz up front. Like
I like Diaz. I like him.
I
And
think they're
Alexis
just going to be
McAllister's
okay. If they make Champions League, I consider that a successful season for them.
I think they will.
Yeah.
It's tough. I
I-
mean, there's so many quality teams that usually like Newcastle, right? West Ham's down here splashing money. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think Newcastle's going to be pushing that door down quite hard this season. I mean, they were so good last season, and I mean they got rewarded with Champions League at the end of it all. But yeah, I don't think Liverpool has been doing like bad work in the transfer window. Alexis McAllister is a top player, and I think he's going to reinvigorate that midfield. He's probably been somebody that they've needed for a while, and I would assume that he's going to be a like for like replacement for Bobby Firmino. Bobby Firmino was a more flary type of player, but I think Alexis McAllister can add that vision. He can add that end product as well. So I don't think that they've been doing bad work in the off season. I think that they know what they have to do. But yeah, I don't really think. What's your owner's name? John W. Henry. Is that his name?
Henry.
Red
Yeah.
Sox owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really that bothered about like what really happens. At
I
the
don't
end
think
of
he
it all.
knows anything that's going on with that team. I'm gonna be blunt. I really don't think he know. Like that is another group. That is a paycheck. That is a sheet of paper with numbers on it. That's what Liverpool probably is to him.
No, for
I
sure.
don't know,
It's
was
just
last time he was
numbers,
at a game.
month in.
I don't see him.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
yeah.
What?
It's interesting.
Sorry,
AF,
Jason,
sorry,
you go
man.
ahead.
Just as we were talking on Liverpool, maybe Nikita, if we have her on again, she'd be able to explain. But I mean, I think one of the biggest things that Liverpool lacked last season was Fabinho, right? I mean, and I'm saying that knowing that he played games, but his level dropped, and suddenly Liverpool looked like a shadow of the team, right? Because then they had to throw in Henderson and those things like that. So now you lose that, you lose Henderson, and you maybe paper over the cracks of maybe throwing Trent into that holding or inverted role, right? And then you have McAllister, who's also a box-to-box midfielder. And then you sign Szoboszlai, who's not really known for his defensive prowess. I mean, Leipzig, he played in that front three, maybe he played in the 2-10 position if they had that. I don't see lots of defensive qualities from him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the one thing that Liverpool have is the fact that they've been there for this last few seasons. So I think Nikita said it, like towards every season at the end, like the last 10 to 12 games, they just go on this crazy run where they win everything. And then somehow they manage to make top 5, top 4, top 3 even. I think they'll have that. I think it will be a bit more challenging, like we're saying. I mean, West Ham dropping cash. I think Aston Villa did very well with who they had acquired. Good defense, good midfielders. They've got good front line now as well. So I think it will be harder. And I'm not sure if this is a segue into our top 4, maybe our top 6 predictions. But yeah, I think Liverpool, I think that midfield hole, I think that's where I think that will determine what their successful season will be like if they can sort that out. Maybe they get somebody else in now. Lavia has been linked and stuff like that. So yeah,
they need someone in the hole
Lavia's
badly.
good shout. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Brighton as well. They overperformed last season, and it's going to be a tough task for them to match that or even like do one better this season. So yeah, I'm watching them like quite keenly as well because De Zerbi's like he surprised me as a manager last season. He came in and he betted what Graham Potter did. So yeah, it's going to be an entertaining league. It's going to be an entertaining season. But yeah, let's go with those top 6 predictions. Who can I start with? Jason, let's go.
Okay. Is this in no particular order, or do we have to give exact orders?
No. We're going 1 to 6. Let's go.
Putting it
1 to 6.
on the line.
Who's
Yo.
winning? And
I think off the back of last season, I want to back my team from the start, and I'm going to say, wow, this feels so nerve-wracking.
Do it.
I think Arsenal wins it. This is a very bold statement. We'll see what happens, and I'm probably going to be laughed at when I say that, but that's fine. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I will back my team. I think second we'll go. I'm going to go City. Third, I'm going to go, I think, United. So that's basically just a swap of 1 and 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Fourth, I'm going to go, I don't know if Liverpool. I think I'm going to go Liverpool. And then fifth, I'm going to go Chelsea, 6 Spurs. Just because Spurs, I think whilst they might look good at the start, I'm a bit concerned when things don't go right. And then suddenly they have a manager change. I'm hoping that that's not the case.
And also Spurs, you have to think with or without Harry Kane. That makes a huge difference.
It's neither nor either.
Riyaz is saying that, right? But Kane, I think his best season last season, and he still finished second in life.
That's what I mean. But that's what I'm saying. Like even if he stays or if he goes, we're not going to finish top 6 anyway. So it doesn't matter.
If he hadn't scored all of those goals,
we still wouldn't have finished. We would have finished worse. There's no top 6 either way. So it doesn't matter if he stays or if he goes.
Cool. So Damon, you up next.
My 6.
I have City winning the league. I'm going to have City winning the league for all of eternity until somebody proves me otherwise. I have Arsenal coming in second. In third, I have Newcastle. 4, I'll put United. 5, I'll put Liverpool. In 6, Villa.
Ooh,
That's
spicy.
spicy.
I
That's
like it.
spicy.
I like
Nice.
it. Riyaz. Talk to
Good
us
Just
Yeah.
because I have a
about
feeling Kane will go.
Yeah,
Mm.
makes sense. I've been watching YouTube prediction videos, and literally 0 people have put Spurs in the top 8. Never mind top 6. So, anyways, I'm gonna go with Arsenal to win the league this season. Even though I don't think they're gonna win it this season. I think they win it next season. But actually, no, I lie. Sorry, City to win the league this season. Arsenal win it next season.
Takes
Sorry,
that little
Jason.
salute back there.
Sorry,
This guy's salute of
I
nothing.
just literally spoke myself into a corner there. So City to win the league this season. City first, Arsenal second, Liverpool third. United. Sorry, United fourth. Everybody's telling me that Chelsea are going to do really well for some reason. Everybody's saying Chelsea are going to do well, top 6, like. But I don't know about that yet. So I'm going to go Aston Villa 5th and Brighton 6th,
Ooh, good shot.
just for a bit of a
Cool.
difference. Spurs 9th.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm going to go with Arsenal winning the league, mainly because I don't want Manchester City to win it 4 times in a
That's
row.
what I was going to say, but
I'll
I
take
couldn't.
the support in whichever form it comes. Thanks, Ed.
It only starts hurting when they hit
Yep.
11 or 10.
Yeah, no, they already took out treble. I don't want them to take out, like, they matched out 3 in a row. So no, they're not taking that as well.
All the more reason for the
Arsenal.
4th one.
Arsenal needs to come through with a clutch next season. So yeah, Arsenal winning the league. I don't think Man City is going to come second. I think we are going to have Manchester United coming second.
I knew you were going to say that.
next
I knew
season.
you were going to say that. That's
just me
shocking
being
call
very
from you.
optimistic.
And I love it.
That's just me being very optimistic from what I've seen in preseason.
golly.
And then City coming in 3rd and Newcastle in 4th. I'm going to have Brighton 5th and Chelsea 6th.
Liverpool?
Liverpool not there. Okay.
No
Not there
way.
yet. No.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
For interest sake, where do Liverpool and Spurs end up in, AF?
I think Spurs just about makes the top 10. And
wow.
I think Liverpool will. I think Liverpool will fight for that top 6, but yeah, 7th probably.
AFC Conference League.
Yeah, conference
Yeah,
league
no,
qualifiers.
they're gonna. They'll be
Nikita
in
is going
Champions
to
League.
murder me.
They'll be in Champions League because they're gonna win the Europa League, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Till Barcelona gets knocked out of Champions League and goes into Europa League and wins Europa League, whatever. Or Sevilla just wins it for like the 15th straight time.
I mean,
I would've
their
seen
name's
better.
already on the
Stocks
trophy.
in- Sevilla's got that cheat code.
Okay,
Sevilla or
and
Emery?
now relegation. Who we got? We have
Ooh.
Luton coming into the Premier League for the very first time, or is it the second time? I think that they've been in the Premier League. But yeah, they haven't been in the top flight for a very, very long time. We have Sheffield United as well, and then we have Vincent Kompany's Burnley. Well,
You
with our
start
guy
us off
Lal
there.
Foster.
You start us off there, yeah. If you start us off on this one.
Okay, so I haven't really seen much of Luton Town, so I don't know what they are capable of. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to include them in my relegation because that could be a disservice to how good they actually are. I think Wolves might be going down. I think Fulham goes down, and I want it. I want this to happen. I want Everton to go down.
I knew you were going to say that.
Just go. Just go. So yeah,
They were so close
those are my
last season.
three.
Might as well just push them over this season. Yeah. Okay.
And the previous season
Everton,
too.
Everton, Fulham, Wolves. Goodbye.
Okay.
Not bad.
I'm gonna jump in there just because I'm the one that's murmuring the most. I think Sheffield go down. I think they sold their best player to Marseille, Iliam Ndiaye or something like that. I think they go down. I think Burnley do like a Sheffield sort of a run when Sheffield first came up and shock the league. I think that they survive. I have a feeling West Ham's going down for some weird reason.
With that Declan Rice money.
With that Declan Rice, they'll be the richest club in the championship with Leeds. They will also be down. And then, yeah, I think Luton actually might go down. Yeah, a little up and down. So I've got West Ham, I've got Sheffield, and I've got Luton.
Cool. Damon?
That's
All right.
swing.
I want Burnley to go down so bad. I hate Burnley. I am still mentally scarred from Sean Dyche's Burnley, where they played the worst football I've ever seen in my entire life. I hate them with every fiber of my being. I want them out of my sight. Luton Town. I don't know about you. I'm sorry. You're not lasting very long. I'd like to see you last. I have a bad feeling about you. And Everton. It's time. We've been playing this game for several years now. You came it down to the last match for several years in a row now. It's time. Go down.
Just go. Nobody wants you here.
It's time to go away of the Schalke. You know, I know Liverpool fans will be a little sad at one point. It's like, the derby's over. And, you know, as a Dortmund fan, I was sad that the Ruhr derby's over. But at the same time, it's hilarious when you just see your rival go down. It's hilarious.
Spurs?
Are you telling me that I'm going to predict Spurs to be relegated? Oh, goodness me. I almost said Arsenal to win it. I have to rethink my whole next year strategy already.
Yeah.
Is it me now? Relegation. I'll go with Sheffield. I think Sheffield will go down. I think that's the safest bet for the season, I guess. I watched Luton Town in the playoff game. That was the only time I really watched Luton Town play. I like them. They have different colored kits, which is interesting. So I like them. I'm gonna hope for the best where they are concerned. So Sheffield to go down. I don't like Bournemouth. I know everybody likes Bournemouth. I don't like Bournemouth. Hot take, but I think Bournemouth will go down. And the last team. Oh, that's so difficult. Either Fulham or Everton, I think, will go down. But I'll go with Everton because everybody doesn't like it. I like Everton. I don't have an issue with them. But like you said, they've been flirting with the bottom for a long time. So let's say Everton, Sheffield, and what was the other team? I forgot to bottom already. Bournemouth.
Fulham.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think Fulham goes down because they're losing Mitrovic. So
is he gone yet?
Yeah,
is that
but
confirmed?
he's
also
basically on the way
signed
out.
Ralph Jimenez, so
Yeah,
they
they
just
signed him, but I
one
mean,
transfer
when was the
fee.
last time that dude even lit up the league?
You're
Like,
shame,
for
guys.
like ever since his head injury, he's been a shadow of his former self. So I don't know, like
I was actually
he's
wanting
not
to
going to
text
do.
you. Yeah,
He's not going to do what Mitrovic did. So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm actually going to go back to my top 6 quickly. I just saw Chelsea's results this preseason. They actually
What does
did
it
quite
say?
well. I don't think they lost any of
Pochettino.
their games.
That's Pochettino.
But just
so.
because of that, I think I'm swapping Chelsea and Liverpool around 6 and 7. I don't think having a decent preseason is going to do you any favors during the.
So that's why you predicted
then,
United to finish second because they're having a terrible.
They had
preseason.
an abysmal preseason.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
I think we only won like three games. And I mean, Andre Onana coming off his line and being exposed that way. You can't tell me that Klopp and Pep Guardiola, they're not going to be targeting that every single game. I mean, the teams in the Premier League, they're going to be super happy because they know this dude is going to be off his line 60% of every game. Let's just try to lob him every chance we get. And
how do you feel about that, though? By the way, I didn't ask you about that. The Onana signing. Do you think he's good enough to be like? You think it was a good signing for you guys?
So I trust Erik ten Hag with whatever he does. I fully back him. He did really well in his first season last season. I think I predicted just a top 4 finish and a good cup run. He
Which happened.
ended up third and he won a cup. So, I mean, like he went over and above what I think was initially expected of him. And I think this year it's more about just like building on that. There's going to be a nice clear out happening as well. And he's signing more of the players that he wants. I'm not too convinced about the Mason Mount signing. I think we paid about 15 million too much for him.
And you want to, and you don't think 30 million for those other two are fair, but you want to pay too much for Mason Mount. Mason Mount's a great player.
United paid 69 million for Mason Mount. No.
What do you mean?
That is
Okay,
the English tax and the
maybe
Manchester
10.
United tax that I spoke about.
Maybe that's 10
Right
too
there.
much maximum, but he's a great player. I think he's worth 60 at least.
I didn't say that he's not a good player. I just said that we paid too much money for him, and I think that is true. But at the end of the day, I'm backing Erik ten Hag, whoever he wants. He's trying to basically just create the vision that he knows all the fans want, and yeah, I'm along for the ride, and I can't wait to see what he does this season. He's definitely going to build on what he did last season. Getting somebody like Onana in, he managed him back at Ajax, so he knows like all his strengths, all his weaknesses, and that's his way of playing. Like we were never going to play the Ten Hag way with De Gea in goal. I love David De Gea. He did
He's a loyal servant.
like exceptional things for United over the past 13 years or so. But yeah, like I mean, there comes a time when you need to end it and you need to grow, and he wasn't growing at the back of the defense. So yeah, let's see what happens, and I'm optimistic. I hope it doesn't backfire on me, but yeah. And there is one player that I'm really not happy about United bringing in, but I'm not going to mention his name. And yeah, I hope it doesn't happen, but you guys would know who I'm talking about. But yeah.
No, 100%.
Why am I not nodding? I need to say the name. Jason.
No.
We will not.
I'm not
we will
saying
not
that name.
mention it. Yeah.
But yeah, we are running out of time, it seems, because Jason needs to run and Riyaz needs to run. So before we sign off, Damon, where can we find you?
You can find me on whatever social media website is on top of the social media Hunger Games this week. On Twitter, I'm still calling it Twitter, at Damon Tweet. On Threads, that's still a thing, at Damon Graham. Blue Sky, that's a thing. TikTok, Damon Talks Comics, whatever you want to find me on, I'm there, sadly.
Sadly. Aren't you going to change your name to at Damon X?
No.
No. Damon X's?
Oh, God. No.
Jason, where can the guys find you if they want to catch you talking about footy?
I try not to be controversial, but you can catch me at Jason_Ronnie on Twitter or X. Yeah, I'm gonna try and be a bit more active this season. I'm gonna try and tweet a bit more. So yeah, follow me for some wild takes, like Arsenal win the league.
That's not wild. That's crazy.
Riyaz.
I actually had to go and check my Twitter profile account situation because I didn't actually know what it was. Well, I'll try and be more active, I suppose. It's at Parker_Riyaz, and yeah, you can find me on there. I'll go with Jason and just be retweeting all his texts.
Sounds about right. I am AF Parker 642 on all social media. Yeah, like Damon, I'm on everything. But yeah, I talk about soccer. I'm probably going to be tweeting about the Rugby World Cup coming up soon as well. The Springboks just announced the squad today, so super amped about that. But yeah, follow me for all my weird takes. And yeah, thanks you guys for joining me tonight.
Thanks so much.
Yep. Thanks guys.
Thanks, man. Good to see you, Damon. See you soon.
Oh yeah.